So President Donald Trump tweeted this morning that he has the absolute power to pardon himself if he wants to, though he quickly added that he has no intention of doing so because he's done nothing wrong. So what the president is getting at is actually something that has been historically untested. So nobody actually really knows whether it is true or not if the president can pardon himself, because there's never been a Supreme Court that's weighed in on the opinion, because frankly no president has ever thought to try to pardon himself or been in the position where they were going to do that. So we are getting into uncharted territory to the extent that we're talking about this as a reasonable possibility. It's never reached the Supreme Court. I would, however, note that there is a Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel opinion from 1974 that suggests the president cannot act as his or her own judge, and so therefore would mitigate against pardoning himself or herself. So what we're seeing from the series of public statements and tweets, both from the president and his lawyers, are really expansive visions of constitutional presidential authority and power. And so we are realizing that the defense for the president in the Mueller investigation is not so much a factual defense about what I did or didn't do, as much as it is, I am president and therefore I am entitled to carry out the very acts that you're now investigating me for. And so if I want to fire the FBI director, I can. If I want to ask the FBI director to shut down a particular investigation, I can. I'm the president. I control the executive branch. And so we are now getting into fairly untested arguments about the scope of the constitutional authorities vested in the president. So a lot's going to depend on whether the president consents to an interview. So if he agrees to an interview, that would sort of seem to suggest there won't be a hugely drawn-out court fight. If he rejects the interview request formally, and then Mueller chooses to subpoena him, which is not something that we're aware that he's going to do, but should he subpoena him, we then will anticipate a very significant court fight, potentially up to the Supreme Court, that will really test some of these issues that we're talking about, whether the president can be subpoenaed for his testimony, whether he could be compelled to speak to investigators. These are really significant issues that suggest that a big court fight could be ahead. I guess what's really interesting to me, at least, is how much of this is truly unknown. So you have legal experts and academics on one side of the spectrum who say this could never happen. You have others who say, well, actually, technically, when you look at the Constitution, it doesn't preclude the types of behaviors or responses that the president is talking about. So to the extent that we are moving into areas that we've never been before, I think there's going to be an opportunity to create new law, and there's not going to be much to look at that guides us in terms of this is the one true right answer. So it's sort of fascinating in that sense.